Hello, everybody. This will be my audience today.
Good evening, everyone. Have you ever stopped to think about what is actually happening inside your computer every time you open an app, save a file, or browse the internet? Most of us use computers every single day, whether it is for school, work, gaming, or even just checking emails, but many people do not really know what makes a computer function. Today, I want to help all of us better understand three main components that allow a computer to operate efficiently. That includes the CPU, the RAM, and storage. By the end of this speech, I hope each of you will have a clear understanding of what these components do and how they work together in everyday technology. First, I will explain the CPU so that everyone can understand how a computer processes instructions. The CPU, which stands for Central Processing Unit, is often referred to as the brain of the computer. Its main responsibility is to process instructions and perform calculations. Every time you click on an application, type something on your keyboard, or open a website, the CPU is working behind the scenes to carry out those commands. According to Intel, the CPU is responsible for executing program instructions and coordinating the actions of all other computer components. In simple terms, it tells us the computer what to do and when to do it. For example, if you open a web browser and type in a search, the CPU helps process that request and displays the results on your screen. Another important aspect of the CPU is speed. CPU speed is usually measured in gigahertz, also known as GHz. This indicates how many cycles or operation the processor can perform per second. Generally, higher GHz, the faster the processor can complete tasks. This is why computers with faster processors often feel more responsive. Second, let's go into the RAM. So, my audience can understand how computers temporarily store active information. RAM stands for Random Access Memory. RAM serves as a computer's short-term memory. Dissimilar to the storage, RAM temporarily holds information that the computer is actively using at the moment. For example, when you have multiple tabs in your browser, a document for homework and playing music in the background, RAM is what allows all of these tasks to stay active and run properly. According to Micro Center, RAM temporarily stores data that the processor needs quick access to. This allows programs to load faster and operate more efficiently. A helpful way to think about RAM is to compare it to a desk. The larger the desk space, the more books, papers, and tools you can keep out and use at the same time. In the same way, the more RAM computer has, the more application it can handle without slowing down. One more important thing to remember is that RAM is temporary memory. Once the computer is turned off, the information is stored in RAM is going to be erased. That's why if you forget to save your work and the computer shuts down, per se, those unsaved changes can be lost. Third, let's go into the storage, so that everyone can understand where files and data are permanently saved. Storage is the part where the computer that keeps information permanently. This includes documents, photos, videos, software, and even the operating system. Dissimilar to the RAM, storage keeps information even when the computer is powered off. Common examples of storage devices include hard drives, solid-state drives, also known as SSDs. For example, when you save a Word document, download an image, or install software, that information is stored in the computer storage system. That is what allows you to reopen those files later, even after restarting the computer. Today, many modern computers use SSDs because they are faster and more reliable than traditional hard drives. This helps computers boot up faster and open files more quickly. Storage is essential because it acts in the computer's long-term memory. Without it, none of your files or programs would be saved. In conclusion, the CPU, the RAM, and the storage are three of the most important components of a computer. The CPU acts as a brain that processes instructions. RAM works as a temporary short-term memory for active tasks. Storage permanently saves files, software, and information. By understanding these components, we gain a better appreciation of the technology we use every single day. The next time you open your laptop or use your phone, you'll know a little bit more about what is happening behind the scenes. Thank you.